From one vision, many worlds. From one world, many visions. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. The title of today's episode is The Scattered. Where did I put it? The Scattered Cosmic Vision. There we go. I was thinking if it was the scattered conscious attention. No, it's the scattered cosmic vision. And so certain things I got to say before I start off. If at any point, I feel I should start saying this. At any point, if the listener feels like they want to engage the conversation, feel free. These live streams provide the opportunity for me to engage other people's comments. Let us start from trying to wonder that some creative force was looking at itself in the mirror. But then this mirror fell and shattered. And so every piece of this mirror can reflect the whole or whatever stares into it. But it has become a tiny fragmentation of the whole intelligence. So if all the broken pieces of that giant cosmic mirror that fell long ago, if they were conscious, they would see themselves reflecting the cosmos in their most minute limitations. That means our limitations reflect the limitlessness of the cosmos. That is why we have mythology as a subconscious reaction to the endless, to the all-powerful. You see, there's a view, the world that self is controlling is becoming larger. Now, what's happening is either way, there is kind of like you open a valve on top of a cup. And the person will eventually become overwhelmed. That means the surplus of power leads to destruction because it's like that energy has to work. There's a sentence that has come to my mind, which is, "Fear not the broken, for they will fix everything." And what that means is that I feel human beings require to get exposed to the structures that in some sense they can do something about. Kind of how Albert Einstein said, if there's a fish underwater, if you judge a fish by its ability to fly, that fish is going to go on thinking it's stupid its whole life. What that means is every design right now it's more in the sort of hypothesis domain, that every design, every DNA can find a unique resourceful moment where the power unleashes the ability. You see, it's like power has a direction. Most people don't realize it. Power that has no direction, when I say what that the direction is towards the self, that power its karma is for the self. That means your personality suggests what will happen to you. That means the empire of the emperor fell because of his attitude. Now there are moments where it's like the emperor falls not because of the attitude but because of the world. For example, when Napoleon went to take back the palace from one of the Louis, like that Louis was hiding in the palace, but Napoleon had managed to get the whole nation on his side. That's some incredible ability. And so the story goes, there's even a picture for it. Let me see if I can find the picture. Okay, guys, I found the picture. I'm going to tell you the story that associates with this picture. So just to make the picture full screen so people can see what it is, then this is a picture. I mean, maybe this is too full of a screen. Here. We can imagine this whole thing happening in this forest. Napoleon was in the forest with his buddies. Yo. Here, wait. This is next level. Okay, there we go. Now it connects to this tree. Excuse me. All right, let's continue with the Napoleon story. The story is pretty much Napoleon and the French army and the French people. He comes back to take the palace, and he finds himself in a situation where the palace guards are pointing guns at his men, the French army, and pretty much the power he's gone to return to the throne, in his own mind at least. And so what happens is Napoleon suddenly, kind of like with a movement of his hand, makes his men, which he sees Frenchmen are pointing guns at Frenchmen, he makes his men drop down their weapons, and he goes in front of all the palace guards, as you can see in the picture. These palace guards, imagine having the gun towards them only. Something like that. I don't know if this is the right picture, but there is a picture like this. I think this is it. So what happens is Napoleon, he opens his jacket, goes up to them, the palace guards that are pointing the gun, like trying to defend till their last breath the palace. He says, "Who dares shoot their emperor? Who dares shoot their emperor? Who dares shoot their emperor?" She's shouting this with an authority as if he's already emperor. And as the story says, the French guards suddenly break down crying and they say, "Our emperor," because they see who is more of an emperor, the man who is hiding behind walls or the man who is climbing them. So that's the story of Napoleon, guys. And why I shared it with you, I will tell you in a couple seconds. Let's just put this in the corner here. Okay, okay, it's back, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, guys, to continue. So there, Napoleon had a sort of inner certainty that helped to shape the outer certainty. Whether we say he had a Napoleon complex or he was self-obsessed, his overall actions led to the sort of realization of commonality of people. You see, there is one view of life where we don't need to do anything too extreme. On another view of life, at the same time, if nothing is done, it's as if the moment is left lifeless. How the cosmic vision is scattered. It has to do with a realization, which is kind of a playful idea. I think it has even mythological implications in the sense that imagine the memories of a collective being scattered, and each memory is in itself a reality. So I want you to imagine, for example, when you were 10 years old, or imagine 10 years ago, or imagine 10 days ago. And you're going to see that there was a sense of self present in a sense of world, and how the world had a meaning and how the self had a meaning were different in the sense that the self's meaning is self-generated, it's in the domain of the free will, but the world's meaning is not in the domain of the free will. And when the free will realizes it is free not by itself, that is when nature is rediscovered. The flow of nature returns. The person's heart suddenly is rebuilt from scratch. And that moment is very profound, because there's some moments in life where the system seems so cruel that we put our decency aside to become soldiers on the battlefield of our cause. Life has chaotic dimensions, life has ordered dimensions. Life has visible meaning, life has invisible meaning, meaning that's only in the implication of the visible movement. That means it has nothing to do, for example, somebody throwing like a father throwing a baseball, like something I didn't realize, but I thought it was very cool that in Western culture, the parent and the son played catch. Like they would, in some sense, throw the ball and kind of like have a conversation. The father would have a conversation in the middle of a sport activity with the son. And I found that to be interesting because, though based on the intensity of how the son threw the ball, the father got an idea of what was going on with the son. Communication is important, but free communication is more important. Free communication can arise only when the world gives you enough freedom for it to do so. That means there's been certain things I wanted to try in this life. It's like the moment I tried it, it was like the karma of the moment slapped it out of my hands. And there have been things I've put an effort to. It's as if the more I tried, the more like the whispers of the logos was like, why are you still standing there? It's as if like run towards it. Something that was a very profound element of my, I guess, psychological development was at a very young age. Like in my house, I had a closet where the closet doors would open from the inside, and each door was a mirror. So it would be two mirrors facing one another. And I remember as a kid, I would go stand between both those mirrors and try to contemplate what those reflections of me were feeling if they were different. You see, the mind of the child is amazed by change. The mind of the adult cannot change that as quick because it has adopted its attention, it has moved its attention through certain responsible areas. What does that mean? That means some people have to accept the world to work in it. They're not really looking to change it that much. They're just working in it, trying to get by. These are people who, the more successful they are in an inefficient system, the more flawed their sense of efficiency. Life is cruel not because it's hitting you so hard you can't get back up. Life is cruel because when you try to get back up, there are. I don't know how to say it. What you build, you feel you have control over because you're aware. Whatever you're not aware of, you feel it is out of your control because you don't even know what is there. So I consider when it comes to entertaining the contents of the mind, I want you to I'll give you an example. I've had a day, for example, where throughout the day I woke up having no thoughts. I woke up preferenceless to another day in the light of the cosmos. Now, as I lived the day, certain incidents occurred that took my attention away. So imagine if the manifest subjective, if the realm is at like a zero, it's like imagine this. This is where how contentment arises. By the way, 50% known, 50% unknown. So when the person wakes up, the most chillest a person can be, the most chill a person can be, I find true contentment arises when you 50% understand that the manifest moment is comprehensible, and 50% you understand it's incomprehensible. Now, the issue occurs when you try to 100% think it's comprehensible. You literally try to save an infinite world, and then you get tired, really. Trust me, when I was younger, I was trying to save infinity from. We're not designed to build heaven, but we are designed to enter it. We are at least designed to build the staircase of heaven. I find it's more of attention traveling to various ways the moment is evoked. When I am aware of the origin of that moment, it's like you can say anger is like a dream. That's why it's uncontrollable. Because the person is not aware of the origin of it. That means if the person somehow could return wakeful attention from that moment where they close their eyes to the moment they suddenly open their eyes in the dream, if that whole duration there was awareness, then there would be, in some sense, kind of the dream would not feel like it's a dream because there is a conscious checkpoint that could relate to the objective, the waking life, you know. So, hey, Idris, I'm reading your comment. I think we're heaven. Interesting. Do you want to elaborate a bit more on that? Do you mean it's a state of mind? Heaven is a state of mind. That means you can be heaven any moment, or you have always been heaven, or earth is in heaven. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Idris, I'm reading your comments. This thing where you say in some people's presence, others feel they entered paradise. Like, I'll never forget it. I saw a picture of Rishi Vyasa. Okay, let me find this. Let me find this picture, guys. Let's all send our blessings to the internet for allowing this right now. Okay, guys, I found the picture. Get ready. Like this man is definitely getting enlightened in this guy's presence. Let me see. How can we? There we go. who the gods would come down to get advice from, I think. Rishi Vyasa. Yeah. You know, it's one of those kind of like mystical puzzles that it was like something that I always couldn't contemplate, where it was like, for example, Buddha, there was a picture. Oh my God, let's find this too. Okay, guys, something's happened. I gotta go right now. But this is the picture of the Buddha I was speaking about. And I gotta create a part two to this, so I'll catch you in part two, which is gonna be probably in a few hours. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Much blessings and